wants to know the current opinion that the UK general public has of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And can you speak on behalf of your fellow countrymen?
Well, I have a very different view to a lot of people. And on the show that I do at home, Loose Women, I'm like the only person who flies the Harry and Meghan flag. And I don't know them. I've met a few of the royals over the years, but I've never met them. But I just think that the amount of bullying by the press, British and American, that woman gets. Remember, she was in those rooms, a lot of them, you know, as a young Black American woman. She had a big voice in UNICEF and in the United Nations. She was in a lot of those rooms before Harry. And I just kind of try to fly the flag a bit. You've got to remember that this is a boy who was, you know, was forced at 12 years old to walk behind his mother's coffin. You know, his dad had been unfaithful. And he grew up in that world. And I think for him to want to say his piece is something quite admirable. And so I kind of think that they're in love. He's never been unfaithful to her. You know, the abuse she got for saying that she was mentally ill. I suffered severe postnatal depression, hospitalized after I had Matthew. So I really empathize and sympathize with somebody who was open about that, and she got ridiculed and hated. It's like, what has she really done?
Right.
You know? And every single day she is battered. So I just...
Good answer.
It was a simple exchange, a question tossed into late night airwaves. But Denise Welch answered reveal a lifetime of empathy, born not of theory, but of experience. Denise doesn't know the Sussexes personally. She never sat with them for tea, but she lived in the ruins of public shame. She's been the headline, the scandal, and the punchline. And like Meghan, she has cried out about mental illness only to be met with mockery. She remembers what it was like to be misunderstood, misrepresented, and mercilessly pursued. To have a nervous breakdown turned into tabloid prophet, to be ridiculed for postpartum depression, to grieve a sick child while journalists listen through walls. And so, when Meghan spoke out, when Harry refused to be silent, Denise understood with every fiber of her being. This is not just a story of a public figure. This is a story of a woman who survived the tabloid machine and now stands beside others still caught in its teeth. This is Denise Welch. Welcome. This is Majesty Sussex Report, and I'm Antonio. Thank you for spending some of your valuable time here with us. Before the tabloids' pages twisted her truth, before the headlines screamed shame, there was simply Denise, born in 1958 in County Durham, England. Denise Welch was destined for the stage. Her charisma was infectious, her wit unmistakable. And for anyone watching the British soap Coronation Street in the 1990s, Denise as Natalie Horrocks was a force to be reckoned with. But Denise wasn't just an actress. She was a daughter, a mother, a woman who believed in using her voice even when it trembled. Her early years were filled with promise and applause, but off stage, the shadows were gathering. In the cruel theater of British tabloids, vulnerability is blood in the water. Denise Welch, who had suffered in silence for years, became their favorite prey. She battled postnatal depression after the birth of her first son, Matty. It wasn't a silent suffering, it was catastrophic. Denise was later hospitalized. She spoke publicly, courageously, about her mental health at a time when doing so was nearly taboo. Instead of compassion, the press offered mockery. As Denise tried to recover, other pressures mounted. Her marriage faltered, addiction took hold, yet through it all, she continued to work, to raise her children, to survive.
Came forward that really made my decision to do the book was those people who said, I've just seen your videos, and I will openly say that I've never really had much sympathy or even empathy for depression, because I've always thought that we all get depressed. And I've only now realized the difference between clinical depression and being low. And I'm going to educate myself on that now. Now, to me, if one person does that, I feel I've made a difference. So this book is, I say it's, those who have depression will understand, and those who don't will hopefully learn how to.
Her private battles were published like gossip columns. Her cries for help turned into punchlines. The truth came out slowly, but when it did, it was horrifying. Denise Welch wasn't just being followed, she was being hunted. In the early 2000s, reports from Mirror Group newspapers began illegally accessing her voicemails. They wanted scandal. They got trauma. They listened in when Denise was crying about her marriage, when she was talking to doctors about her critically ill son, Louise. They planted a listening device in her hotel room. Denise said, to learn they were listening to me while I thought I might lose my child. It's evil. She wasn't alone. Hundreds of others, celebrities, politicians, even grieving families, were victims of the same ruthless tactics. But Denise's story was especially brutal because it was deeply personal. She began to doubt everyone around her, friends, colleagues, even family. She accused a fellow actor of betrayal, believing they had sold her out. But the real betrayal was coming from bugged voicemails, and hidden microphones. They wrecked friendships. They ruined trust. They made me question my reality, said Denise. When Denise finally confronted the truth, a spreadsheet of her hacked life handed to her by police, she said it felt like someone had laid her soul bare, just there, for them to use as they see fit, to ruin a life none of them cared. If you find yourself asking why the tabloids and media in the UK are still allowed to do and say the things they do and say, it's because there are no consequences to their actions. These 3 men allegedly caused such suffering and pain to countless amounts of people, to hundreds. As we all know, Piers Morgan continued on to have a career on CNN, then Good Morning Britain, and still is a figure in the media circus that is the UK. Richard Wallace, after his newspaper career, Wallace moved into television, joining Simon Cowell, Psycho Entertainment, as a consultant in 2012, later becoming an executive producer on America's Got Talent, and then Senior VP, TV and Production at Psycho. Today, Richard Wallace is the head of TV and News UK Broadcasting, where he oversees editorial output for no other than Talk TV, and holds responsibility for production and budget management. He started in his role in July 2023, bringing his wealth, quote unquote, of experience to the newsroom, transition into television and digital news formats. Now, if you ever wonder why Talk TV, from beginning to end, bashes, abuses the Duchess of Sussex, you have no need to wonder anymore. Allegedly. Eugene Duffy moved on to becoming the managing editor of the Tribune newspaper in the Bahamas. He passed away at the age of 60 after a brief illness. He was regarded by the Mirror as the backbone of the paper and a legend. In 2015, Denise took action. She sued Mirror Group newspapers. In 2016, they settled. She received an apology, a payout, and a legal acknowledgement that her privacy had been violated. But there was no jail time for editors, no accountability for the men in suits who ordered the wiretaps. The Leveson inquiry came and went. Promises of reform were made and then quietly shelved. Denise said, they paid money, but they never paid the price. Despite what she endured, Denise stood tall, not as a victim, but as a witness to a system that rewards cruelty and punishes the truth.
Pastor Denise Welch has told ITV News about the devastating impact phone hacking had on her mental health. The former Corrie star was illegally targeted by the Sunday Mirror with her voicemail messages intercepted, and she claims her hotel room was bugged. She says that left her feeling violated at what was already a very vulnerable time in her life. Now, Denise was compensated for the phone hacking. It was discussed during the current hacking trial involving Prince Harry at the High Court, although Denise is not one of those now bringing a claim against Mirror Group newspapers. The journalist who hacked her, Graham Johnson, admitted his crimes and has now turned whistleblower. Remarkably, he went to meet Denise to talk about the impact of his actions. Denise described to our correspondent Rebecca Barry the damage it's caused to her and her family.
So, Rebecca, would you like tea or coffee?
At home with well-known TV actor and presenter Denise Welch. Less known, perhaps, is that she was illegally spied on by a tabloid.
You know, people think it's just the voicemail interception, which it's not. It's a lot more than that.
In 2016, Mirror Group newspapers apologised and paid her damages. So she's been watching the case now being brought by Prince Harry with interest. She recalls the moment police first showed her the evidence she'd been targeted.
In front of me was more or less a spreadsheet of my life. There were times on there that were so private and so personal, and I had had no idea how that information had been garnered. When my younger son was poorly, and he was very poorly in the first 20 months of his life, we nearly lost him twice. And I still get emotional about it because I was dealing with something so personal to me and to my family. And the thought that people were listening in to those private conversations, perhaps with doctors, perhaps when we thought we were going to lose him, perhaps with my ex-husband. And they were still out trying to, dig scurrilous dirt on me.
She sued Mirror Group newspapers, accusing them not only of phone hacking, but bugging her hotel room.
My life over several years was listened into, and to put a listening device into somebody's bedroom, no matter what is going on in there, it's none of your business, and it destroys families.
Does it make you feel violated?
Yes. I mean, wouldn't it you?
The publisher never admitted bugging, but paid substantial damages for unacceptable intrusions.
I had a very public battle with depression, with mental illness after I had Matty, my eldest son, which resulted in addiction issues. I've been very open about those from day one, but during this time, I was very much in the midst of those.
She says stories revealing her drug use took their toll.
It was devastating because I'm not saying that my family shouldn't have found out that, but by using those means to do such a thing, was pretty horrendous.
Do you think all this had an impact on your mental health?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I can't say medically if my episodes of depression or breakdowns, as we used to call them, which were fairly regularly, would have been any better without that. But I lived in constant fear of everywhere I went, people knew where I was.
Your sons are now grown up and they're in the spotlight. Your son Louis, an actor, and your son Matty, of course, the lead singer of the 1975. What do they make of what happened to you?
I was real tabloid fodder. I was always on the cover of a magazine in drink hell, drug hell, marriage hell. And my kids grew up around a lot of that. Again, some of it was my fault. But the reputation that I got was because that information was gained by illegal means. And it affected my kids going to school, certainly with Matty.
He's very wary of the press.
She only found out after a former Sunday Mirror journalist handed himself into police.
You all right?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
We arranged a meeting with the man who admitted hacking her.
What I do want to say is that I am grateful that you have accountability for your part in hacking me.
Graham Johnson was given a suspended sentence.
So they asked you to, what was it initially, to listen into my voice messages?
It was instruction. It was an order. The culture of a tabloid newspaper is high pressure. Get it quickly, get it cheaply, and if you don't get it, you're down the road.
He gave evidence to support the case now being brought by Prince Harry, telling the court senior figures at Mirror Group newspapers knew about unlawful activity. In court, he described an incident when private investigators allegedly bugged Denise's hotel room.
And he said, well, we're going to place a listening device in there. We're going to put a bug in there, and that would have enabled them to listen to when you came into the room and also what went on inside the room.
It's still quite shocking. It's still quite shocking to hear it.
A spokesperson for Mirror Group newspapers said, where historical wrongdoing has taken place, we have made admissions, take full responsibility and apologise unreservedly. But we will vigorously defend against allegations of wrongdoing where our journalists acted lawfully. MGN is now part of a very different company. We are now committed to acting with integrity, and our objective in this trial is to allow both the business and our journalists to move forward from events that took place many years ago.
But these are serious, serious, serious offences that have ruined people's lives.
Though from opposite perspectives, these two both know the aftermath of illegal tabloid tactics.
So revealing, so telling, and really moving to actually hear the impact that hacking had on one family. But we still don't know who sanctioned all of this behaviour, do we?
No, I think it's firstly important to reiterate that Denise Welch's case is from the past. It's been settled. Mirror Group newspapers have in the past admitted and apologised for phone hacking. They've paid out more than £100 million in damages. It's separate from the case currently making its way through the High Court, of which Prince Harry is one of the claimants. Mirror Group newspapers vigorously contest those claims. That trial is finishing tomorrow, and the judge will give his ruling sometime in the coming months. But I think you're right, that interview does reveal very vividly the emotional and the psychological impact that illegal press intrusion can have.
Okay.
Prince Harry won his legal case against Mirror Group newspapers, MGN, the publisher of the Daily Mirror, over phone hacking and other unlawful information gathering conducted for stories about him. In December 2023, the High Court ruled in Harry's favour, awarding him £140,000 in damages after finding that 15 of 33 articles examined were the product of unlawful activity such as phone hacking and blagging, confidential information. The judge, Mr. Justice Fancourt, concluded that phone hacking at Mirror Group was widespread and habitual between 1998 and 2011, and that senior executive and editors turned a blind eye and possibly concealed such practices. After his victory in February 2024, Prince Harry settled the remainder of his claims with MGN concerning 115 more stories, which the publisher agreeing to cover all his legal costs and pay substantial additional damages. The settlement brought an end to a 4-year legal battle over unlawful intrusion, with MGN apologizing and paying an interim amount of £400,000 towards legal fees, plus unspecified further damages. Prince Harry described the outcome as vindication and reiterated his goal for greater press accountability. MGN stated it was pleased to resolve matters and could now move forward from events that took place many years ago. Once again, thank you for being here. Every time you watch, comment, or share, it means more than you know. I pour my heart into this work because I believe in it. And clearly, if you're here, something brought you too, and it's not my pretty face. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is your moment. Click that button. It's free, and it makes a real difference. And hit the notification bell so you will be one of the first people to be notified when something new and meaningful goes up. If you feel moved by what we're building, consider going a step further. There's a Buy Me a Coffee link and a membership option if you'd like to help us keep this going strong. It's like lighting a little candle for something you believe in. And whether you're here quietly or loud and proud, leave a comment if you can. It helps the message travel. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. Thank you. When Meghan Markle, now Meghan Sussex, married into the royal family, many cheered. Denise Welch knew better. She saw the machine just warming up, the whisper campaigns, the coded racism. And when Meghan said she had suicidal thoughts and was met with ridicule, Denise felt that pain in her bones. I've been in that dark place, and I had support. Meghan didn't, said Denise. On Loose Women, Denise became a lightning rod, while others laughed, cheered, or dismissed Meghan and Prince Harry's as whiners. Denise refused to let the hate go unchallenged. She defended Meghan's mental health disclosure. She praised Prince Harry's legal battle against tabloid abuse. She spoke as someone who had lived it. On Andy Cohen, she said, "What has she done? She told the truth. She protected her family. She stood up." The same could be said for Denise. She didn't just survive the press. She fought back. When Women Own printed lies about her return to Loose Women, she forced them to issue a front page correction. Few have done that. She continues to speak out, not just for herself, but for those still suffering in silence. For the hundreds whose lives were twisted, whose trust was stolen, whose mental health was ignored. Denise said the following: "They destroy reputations with lies, but we're still here, telling the truth." Thank you, Denise. And for Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex, she remains a rare and loyal ally in a world eager to misunderstand them. Denise Welch is more than headlines, more than trauma, more than a survivor. She is a voice that refused to be silenced. She is proof that pain does not define you. Courage does. She is a warning to the press that people remember, that truth echoes longer than scandal. She is a reminder that standing up for others, even when you're the only one in the room doing so, is the highest form of integrity. On Loose Women, where women claim to speak their truth, where they claim to uplift and understand, how could so many sit in silence, or worse, mock? When Denise stood up for Meghan's mental health, for Harry's trauma, when she said enough to tabloid's cruelty, why did the others dismiss her? Was it envy? Was it politics? Was it fear? Or was it something deeper? Because when a black biracial woman says she wants to live and the response is laughter, the silence of her peers become a kind of complicity. When Meghan was torn apart for her love, her voice, her very presence and essence, and Denise stood alone to defend her, what does it say about the rest? What does it say even of the women of color, black women, who have been on that panel and said nothing? Is it racism? Is it misogyny? Is it the cowardice of those who profit from the very machine Denise exposed? Whatever the reason, history will remember this. Denise Welch stood up. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't check the wind. She saw the truth and she told it. That is legacy. That is courage. And that is the challenge left for the rest. Will they stand up for the truth? On behalf of Majesty's Sussex Royal Court, I would like to give our thank you to our benefactor, Riri-gres. Thank you so much, Riri. Thank you. Thank you. You helped to keep the candles burning. Thank you. What an incredible, incredible woman Denise is. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and that you've learned something perhaps about Denise's trajectory to where she is today and how the tabloid media, the British media, really took her out, on a very, very unhealthy, dangerous journey. Some of the things that I find, I guess it's not fascinating because it's nothing new really. But what really gets to me, I think, is how these people who have done such awful things, awful things, they get away with it. There is zero consequences for any of them. And the nightmare that they have put people through. The Duchess of Sussex wanting to unalive herself with a baby. And the people who have actually unalived themselves, and the people who have suffered, whether it's bullying, harassment, because of the things that these people publish, the things that they say, and they all get away with it. And that is why they will continue to get away with it, because there's zero consequences. None of them went to jail. None of them paid a penny. If anything, they went on to even bigger and better careers. It's so alarming that culture continued to persist, because nothing has changed. Nothing really has changed. The other thing that fascinates me is how on that panel of all those women, that Denise is the only one that stands up, speaks out for the Sussexes. The rest don't. And when the information is right in front of their face, they still decide to not pay any attention to it. So why do you think so many women on Loose Women don't defend the Sussexes or don't back Denise, a woman who've gone through so much, publicly? Like, they know what she's gone through, and they still nonchalant about the Sussexes being dragged through the same kind of ringer. Do you think it's race based? Do you think it's culturally based? Do you think it's gender based? I mean, I have my own thoughts, but what do you think? And here's a kind of a touchy little question. Have you ever been the only voice in a room telling the truth? Have you been the only voice in a room telling the truth? What did it cost you? I know what it cost me. It cost me my job. Because when I thought other people were going to have my back, when I thought other people were also going to say, yes, what Antonio is saying is true, because we were all going through the same thing, when I decided to speak up, I was the only one who did. Everyone else remained silent. And actually, when someone else was asked, they just they told a tale as long as time. It was a completely different story. When just an hour before that, I had asked her, I said, listen, I'm going to bring this situation up in our meeting. Are you okay with me bringing it up? Are you going to back me? Yeah, no problem. Yes, we have to bring it up. I was the only one. And it cost me my job. But that is okay. It really is okay. Everything happens for a reason, right? So, incredible. What I didn't know either was that her son, Maddie, dated Taylor Swift. Didn't know. And an entire album or half an album or whatever is she wrote songs about it. And what Denise said on Andy Cohen's show, she said, it's not very fair, because she goes on and writes an entire album and we're not supposed to say anything, and we're not allowed to say anything. But she said, at the end of the day, she goes, my son is very happy. He met someone else and he's very happy with this person, and I'm very happy that he met this person. And she said, I'm happy that I'm not the mother-in-law of Taylor Swift, right? She goes, oh, and I can just imagine. Anyways, anyhow, I'm working on, for tomorrow, there is a Newsweek article by that person, Jack, whatever his name is. And I've read it and I just laughed. I laughed. And then I said, okay, am I going to respond to the article? Or am I going to do a little bit more profound, dig deeper, don't look just at the surface, look at what's behind the curtain. So I'll be looking at what's behind the curtain in tomorrow's episode. So look out for that. Hopefully it will be around the same time as today, and hopefully you will enjoy it too. So thank you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you all in the chat. Thank you. All of you who are silently watching, all of you who always come around, support this channel, all of our new subscribers, thank you for being here. All of our legend, our vintage subscribers, you are just a fine wine, I tell you. Thank you. And of course, Connie, hope you had a fantastic birthday. You know how much we care and love you in all of these channels. You know, Connie is part of a group of women that are so effective in showing up and giving attention to channels. They're such great supporters, and I couldn't thank you all enough. You are absolutely fabuloso. Happy belated birthday, I guess, at this point, Connie. And as I said, I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And as I say, birthdays are not just to be celebrated one day. They're supposed to be celebrated the entire week. And if you can, the entire month. So happy birthday to all of you who had your birthday in this month of July as we head into August. Where is the time flying by so quickly? Thank you all. Take care of yourselves. Be kind. I'll speak to you folks soon again. Bye for now. Mwah.
I am not afraid. I put in the work every day. If you could try to stop, but you can't. And if pressure makes diamonds, that must be the reason I don't break. So I am not afraid. So I am not afraid. So I am not afraid. Hey, hold it up. What is that? It's a trophy from the back. I'm winning that. Then I'm gold. I'm the best. Go against. That's a bad. I don't break. I don't bend. Never stress in the way. I'm seeing red. I'm a bull. Stand tall. Never check. Vision full. Yeah, you are not the same as me. I do this for real. It ain't a game to me. Full speed. I ain't touching the brakes. Every loss only sharpen my aim. Every scar put a fire in my veins. Built for the pressure. Yeah, I grew in the rain. They gon' wanna write that. When you win it, how I'm winning, and you like that. See them imitate, now they all can recite that. They got no teeth in the game, can't bite back. And they can see I'm having fun, they don't like that. I ain't stopping till I'm done, running right back. Left them all shook, smell the fear, you can't hide that. Full speed, I ain't touching the brakes. Every loss only sharpen my aim.